Guys, Dmvdrakes here. We got a Dexdorugoramon, BT-17, Arcane Kaze. Let's do this.
Alright, you know it. So, Dorugoramon is back, as everybody knows. That's why you clicked on the video. So starting out, we got just Dorugoramon egg, just clean, simple. When you have a lot of Mind Link Tamers in this, so when you tuck it, get a card draw for free. Just don't overthink it. Just 4 of those. Next, we got 4 of the BT-17 Dorugoramon. This one, of course, gives DPS and inheritable, but even more important, we run 4 Kosuke in the deck, and starter main just gets to slide this under, and you get protection from pretty much everything except for deletion. And I know that sounds a little weird, because it's like, well, isn't that the main thing you want protection from? But thanks to the new deck support in this deck, you'll see why that's definitely not going to matter. And then, of course, speaking of Mind Link Tamers, we run 4 of the original Dorugoramon. The search is good. I mean, you know, it just digs 1 deeper than a defense training, but the inheritable is going to gain you memory once you have a level 4 out. So that way, once you link up the Tamer, you just get a free card draw and free memory if you have the egg underneath. Starting to round off our rookies, we got the Dorugoramon here that just on play, trash something with X Antibody, draw 2. I used to test with Ukomon here, but this is an X Antibody card that could get searched with the Searcher Doru. And it also just, instead of bot decking a piece that I need, I just have the raw card draw and potentially another check as well. Last rookie, the newest Dorugoramon from BT-17. I used to have this at 2, but the main thing that this Dorugoramon is good for is warping into a Dorugoramon if your opponent has a level 6 Digimon out, and if you have Kosuke in the sources. That's why it's just at 1, it's just a tech for that, and the extra reboot inheritable is pretty good. So going on to our 4s, just a PSA, you need 6 of the BT-16 Dorugamon, but that would be an illegal deck, so we settle for 4. This thing digivolves, or when it's played, you can trash a card in your hand and then draw 1, and just being able to cycle through your deck like that is really good. The collision is also good from just getting rid of early threats. However, you also get a Laplace's Demon effect if Kosuke or a Tamer with SOC is under it. So that way, I'll go over the 5s later because that's what it's relevant for. You can force them to swing, block, and then go up the line that way. And then, of course, DP Inherit is just good.
That's the best card in the game. That's the best card in the deck, I mean. Yeah. Honestly.
And then the Dex line. So, originally, I had 4 of this one. But after testing, you definitely want to, if you just have your level 4 out, and you just want to Digivolve normally, you want to prioritize this one because it gets you memory, of course, and then you also give yourself blocker retail without needing a Tamer underneath. The Dex line, and especially Dexdorugoramon, it's good when you build this deck, it's good to just treat this as a protection piece, not as a 4 that you want to reliably just Digivolve into normally. Because once this is in your trash, the moment Dorugoramon gets deleted, you can just Digivolve into this for free, trash a card in your hand to keep setting things up, and you actually get to pop a low level threat. Now, obviously, if it's not over Dorugoramon, you get a card draw, cool, but this is mainly just to protect your level 4 of the deck. For changes, I might cut one of these for a BT-13 Dorugoramon, but for now, we're just going 3 and 3 on the decks, just because the dex cards are just good. Next, running 3 of the BT-16 Dorugoramon. Honestly, you could go up 4 for this because, like I said before, forcing them to swing actually matters for this because all turns, when an attack target is switched, you could just go into any of your level 6s in this deck for free. And, I mean, I don't have to explain how crazy that is. The inheritable is really good for this too because when this Digimon deletes something, which Dorugoramon's going to do, you could actually play a X Antibody or SOC card with a play cost of 5 or less, so this could be the level 4 Dorugoramon, or this could even be one of your Tamers because they have the SOC trait. So that's good there. Of course, we have the one of Dorugoramon.
One of.
You know it. And, I mean, I don't have to explain this card. It got restricted for a reason. Sec check +1 inheritable. All the good fun stuff. And right now, 2 of the Dexdorugoramon. Again, the Dex line going up to the 6 is meant to just be protection pieces more than anything else. It really does the same thing. The inheritable here, though, is actually pretty cheeky. So, if you're a regular Dorugoramon, and you swing and you survive, end of attack, you can choose one of your Digimon and then you delete one of your opponent's Digimon whose level is equal to or less than that. But thing is, if you could choose your own Dorugoramon, and as it's about to be deleted, digivolve it into Dexdorugoramon to prevent it, but you still get to pop your opponent's dude. So plays like that is why I still have it at 2, but it could honestly go to 1. You know, it's up to you though. And then lastly for the 5s, we have 2 Megadramons. Just on play when digivolving, it's basically another search for the deck because you can tuck a SOC card under it and get it to your hand, trash the rest. The fact that it's on play and when digivolving has definitely saved me sometimes where you just need a blocker because you can just tuck a AG under. But the thing is, if you have 2 different SOC Tamers like I do in the deck, you could actually, for example, Mind Link a Kosuke first, under a 4, digivolve into this, and you could actually tuck an AG underneath. So it's one of the few ways you can actually get 2 Mind Link Tamers in your inheritables. And speaking of inheritables, when attacking D-digivolve is just crazy. It's just crazy, all right? Like, come on now. That's why we have it at 2.
Third best mechanic in the game.
You know it.
Jamming.
So, 4 of Dorugoramon is the star of the deck. Has collision, so something's always going to have to block this. But don't worry, Kosuke gives piercing, so it's whatever. But when digivolving, so long as it has a Tamer with the SOC trait, you delete any unsuspended Digimon or Tamer. This is just more Tamer removal in the game itself. That is just insane, especially with hybrids coming back. Playing this deck is just very well timed in general. But if that's not enough, when another Digimon is deleted, so not just your opponent's, it can even be yours, you just unsuspend it. Just being able to unsuspend that reliably in black and purple aggressively, you can imitate a blue deck pretty well with that, honestly. And then when it's just sitting there as a blocker, it's all turns, so it's even better.
Pop the memory setter Koji. Make them use those hammer sparks.
Exactly. But speaking of which, if they do somehow manage to delete you, you still don't care, because you should have been trashing this Dexdorugoramon throughout the game. All turns, of course, just like the other ones, it'll digivolve into it for free. But when it does digivolve, you de-digivolve 3 on one thing, and then so long as Dorugoramon is in the sources, or it digivolved from the trash, you just pop everything with the lowest level. And, I mean, it's just a board wipe. And then, of course, he has the same text, so all turns when another Digimon is deleted, you unsuspend it. I guess it's also good to keep in mind that it's a you may unsuspend, so it's not mandatory just in case that matters, but no one's playing Daigo at the moment. Don't worry about it. Either way, this thing is really good. Before we move on, though, I guess a ruling that's good to point out because it catches some opponents off guard. When you're getting DP reduced, right, and let's say you have this in trash, let's say you don't have any DP modifiers, and they DP reduce you by 12k, and he's about to die, he will, be in a state where he's going to die, but you can still digivolve into a Dex because the trash effect is going to interrupt it, resolve all of that, and so long as your DP is above what would be negged, you can draw a card and then activate all of the effects, and then just survive. That definitely trips people up, and if you plan on playing this deck, it's good to make sure that math is just in your head at all times, depending on your matchups. Last but not least, Ruin Mode. It's Ruin mode.
Yeah,
there you go. Congrats.
All right, options.
Tamers and options. So, for Kosuke, talked about him throughout the whole video. Memory setter, inheritable gives, piercing, and blocker, and he can mind link under any X antibody or SOC. So, even though you got collision, you're still going to be doing checks thanks to him, and he also enables the BT-17 Dorumon. For my supporting Tamer, I know Ryu Senji just came out and everything, but I think that's a trap just for right now. AG has actually worked a lot better for me because it's extra memory at the start of your turn, and you also get Alliance and blocker. So, with that, you have threats like, let's say, Tyrant Kabuterimon, right? They're going to be immune to a lot of Digimon effects, but when you have Alliance and you can play a level 4 that's 5k DP for free, you can actually start swinging over things a lot better. And of course, he's just that extra check with Alliance if it all goes through. Unless you have Megadramon, you're probably not going to have both Tamers underneath at the same time, but still good to keep in mind. Last but not least, the options. So right now, 3 defense training is the way to go. It feels really good. You can go 2 defense training, 2 black memory boost because, black memory boost gets around activating dragon mode, but defense training is just still good because it also picks up these next two options, Dorujin and Breath of the Gods. Dorujin is insane. If you have Dorugoramon, it's just more Tamer removal, but even if you don't, it pops everything with the lowest level. For a lot of single stack decks, it's just hard removal, period. Out of security, if you have a Dorugoramon or a Dexdorugoramon out on the field, it gets rid of a Tamer, wipes the board, easy. Breath of the Gods. Now, sure, it's nice being able to just get it out of security and, hey, good, your opponent can't attack. But the main effect is actually really good because if you don't have the protection from the BT-17 Dorumon, you can't get bot decked or DP reduced. So if you want to skip all the math I was talking about earlier, you can just play this. Now you're not afraid of a Valkyrie. Now you don't care about what Fanglongmon or the new Fenri and Takemikazuchi stuff. You just can have reboot, not get bounced by Dragon Fighter mode and all that good stuff.
And most importantly, you can't get bounced by Ancient Garurumon either.
Exactly. Good point. Yep. Yeah. And, of course, last but not least, Antibody. Me and some of my team members were talking about if this or Protoform form was better. I like Antibody a little better because being able to Digivolve up into Dorugora has just been better, especially off of like something like Megadramon or something like that. On top of that, you when it's Protoform, you have to play it and then Digivolve with the reduced cost. But if that ends your turn and you still wanted to get swings in, well, Antibody just goes under for free always. So yeah, I personally like Antibody. I don't think Protoform is wrong per se, but that's where we're at right now. And that is the deck list for now.
Hey, thank you, Arcane Kaze. I just have like one question for you.
Go for it.
How do you feel this deck does into things like Magna and, as we mentioned in the video, Ancient Garurumon and Numemon? How do you feel about those matchups?
Yep, so I'm actually glad you asked that because a lot of people are saying that this deck is just kind of, it answers pretty much everything in the meta, and they are correct. The only issue is if you don't see your Tamer's first two turns, everything falls flat, but the matchups themselves, starting with Ancient Garurumon, honestly, when I did fight it, when I didn't brick, I just won because you pop their Tamers and yeah, they could get them back, but they have to keep expending resources to do so. And you could just keep, you just keep swinging with Collision and you're fine. Against Magna X, they will have protection against Collision, but since they already have Blocker and Collision targets the player, you could still just swing at them, and even if their DP is higher, you don't care. You could just Digivolve from the trash to get rid of that, right? To prevent the deletion. I will say against Numemon, it does answer that matchup very well. You just keep wiping their board over and over again. But be careful because you have to kind of turn into a control deck for the first 5 turns because the Ukamon engine is just so fast that while you're setting up, they're going to be getting all the checks in the world in. And if they survive those checks, that's actually very bad because they could just win the game if you don't have the right blockers. So Dorugoramon is just, it's a really good anti-meta deck. But you're probably, if you're new to it, you're going to be misplaying for your first 4 games before you figure out what's what. Because you have to remember to make sure I have the right things in the trash. But yeah, no. Surprise, surprise, Captain. Being able to board wipe over and over again and deal with Tamers in a meta where Tamers are relevant makes for a damn good deck. So I don't really feel threatened in those matchups unless I'm fighting myself and can't 5-4s or anything like that.
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll have more gameplay, deck profiles, and podcasts to come. Take care.